G'day Jaffa Adventures, Terry King here. Welcome to the channel. Time to step out from my lovely 25-degree shed into the 35-degree inferno. This will be the last video of the Monte Carlo SS restoration. I've got a really short list of things to do, and the first one on my list is this bonnet. I've obviously painted it, I've wet sanded it, and it's beautiful. It's flat as glass, except I've got the dreaded tiger striping in it. Let's see if I can find an angle where you can see it in the video. There we go. See that? Dark line here, dark line here, dark line here, dark line here. This side of the bonnet's not as bad, but it's still there. And that would ship me to tears every time I'm sitting in the car looking out over this bonnet down these bloody stripes. Well, let's get these couple of jobs knocked over. You can climb in the car with me and we'll go for a cruise when I'm finished. Interested in joining me? Stick around. Well, this does ship me to tears because I spent all this time not only painting the bonnet, but doing all the after paint work. And even so far as hitting with some ceramic coating, so I got that lovely bead pouring. Unfortunately, that was all for naught, because here we go with some 800 grit sandpaper and put some lovely scratches on my freshly buffed out clear coat. I've come into the shade because I was cooking my scone out there in the sun. Now it is a bit harder to see when you're sanding, but I'll try and preserve my cooked brain over wanting to see the finish. At this stage anyway, this is pretty no-brain work really. The only reason I'm sanding this is to create a little bit of a key for the new base coat and clear coat to stick to. I'm trying desperately not to burn through the clear coat, so I'm being very careful on my edges. The reason I don't want to burn through that clear coat is if I do, and I get down to the base coat, as soon as I hit that base coat with another coat of base coat, the thinners in the new base coat dissolves the old base coat and it kind of shrinks up on you, whereas the clear coat kind of acts as this little bit of a protective layer. So I'll see you ladies and gentlemen once I've finished sanding this bonnet down with this 800 grit. Okay, there we have it. Bonnet is all sanded down. I'm not going to put my paint booth up to paint. I'm just going to paint it out here in the Au Naturel paint booth. But it is nearly the longest day of the year. The sun sets behind the shed and it takes a while for this shadow to spread out. So I'm probably going to have to wait another hour or two for that shadow to grow, because there's no way I'm spraying this sucker in that direct sunshine, especially not on a 35-degree day. But one step closer on a reasonably short list of things to do. Now I am going to get everything prepared and ready so that when it comes time to spraying, I've got no holdups or obstructions. This is just my cleanup thinners, which was down on its level, so I'll top him up. Got my wax and grease remover, nice clean rag for that, spongy rag to clean up the gun, my 2 paint cups, my bladders, my gun of course, the lids for the paint cups. These lids have got a strainer inside of them. My clear coat, slow activator for that hot temperatures, slow base coat reducer, again for the hot temps. Got my tack cloth and a mixture of metho and water to get the water soluble contamination off of the bonnet. And of course my base coat. All right, I got my metho and water solution here. So I'm gonna go over the bonnet and get any of the water soluble contamination off of it. Of course, the reason I'm doing this, you saw, is because of the tiger striping. And I didn't get any tiger striping on any of the other panels on the car. So I really wish I knew why I got it here and not on the other panels, because if I knew that, you know, I could do some preventative measures. Now I'm moving on to wax and grease remover. So what can actually cause that tiger striping? Well, as I said, I'm not certain because I don't know what happened to me, but I have read and I have watched videos, and there's a few things. If you don't hold your gun perpendicular to the panel and you cock it a little bit, one side will get a little bit wetter than the other side. That could cause it. Running your gun too close to the panel can cause it. Improper pressure, air pressures can cause it. Because none of the other panels got tiger striping, I don't think in my case it'd be things like improper pressures or gun setup stuff, because I didn't change any settings on the gun between this bonnet and the rest of the vehicle. So in my case, I think it was probably more user error in the way I was holding the gun. Either too close or improper angle or something like that. So this time when I paint it, I'll just be extra mindful of all of those sorts of things. And hopefully that mindfulness will be enough to get me out of trouble. 31 degrees on the panel, 31.8, 31.5. Well, it's not going to get much cooler than this. I'm late afternoon, and if I wait too much longer, I may run out of daylight. So I'm going in at 31 degree panel temperature. I got my tack rag here. There is a bit of shit that's blowing on this bonnet, and that'll continue to happen because I don't have my booth set up. All right, here we go. All right, coat number 1 of the base is down. It's been 10 minutes, so it's all flashed off. Just running my tack rag over it to get any shit that's landed on it off. And then we'll go for our second coat. All right, my 2 coats of base coat are down. I've hit it with a fluoro light to see whether I could see any tiger striping. I couldn't, but that doesn't mean it's not there. I'll let that second coat flash off for 30 minutes. Then I'll hit it with my clear. Panel temp has come down a couple of degrees. 28 degrees, that's not bad at all. I can live with that. Take my tack cloth and run it over top of this base coat. Get any shit that's landed in there off. Unfortunately, this is the last time I'll be able to use this tack cloth. Once that clear coat goes down, you are out of business in terms of the tack cloth, and anything that lands in there stays in there. That's not bad. There's not a lot of shit in here at the moment. You watch, I'll say that, and my neighbor will start a fire or something. I'll get a big bloody ash cloud over here. Okay, it's been 48 hours since I sprayed that bonnet. It's now time to do some wet sanding. It's actually laid down there pretty good. It's a really cloudy day at the moment, so you can't see the zebra striping or the lack thereof, but I nailed it. There isn't any zebra striping in the bonnet, which is the whole reason that I sprayed this thing. There's a few bits of shit in the clear coat here and there, obviously because I didn't use a spray booth, but let me sand that out now. My starting grit, just like it was on the car, is going to be 1200. Same thing as the car. I'm going to steer clear of the edges and just slowly knock down the orange peel in this thing, along with any contamination, like that little spot right there. Got it. They're actually forecasting some pretty big thunderstorms today, and I had a look on the radar, and they're not too far away. I've never done wet sanding in a thunderstorm before. This could be a first. On the positive side, it'll keep my paper nice and wet. Well, it's 45 minutes later. The rain's held off so far. This is where I've got to with my 1200. Taken most of that orange peel off, getting a few of these little nubs taken care of. And my next grit, 1500, should wipe the rest of that orange peel off before I start to sneak up on my highs and on my seams with 2000. Got a fresh bucket of water, just like I have in the past, to make sure that I eliminate any cross-contamination from the coarser grain sandpaper. And now I'll just hit it with this 1500. Once you take the shiny top layer off the clear coat, it's a lot easier to cut. So that first sand is the hard one. After that, it gets easier and easier and easier. I can feel a bit of a cool breeze blowing in now. I think it's the leading edge of that storm coming. I can hear the odd rumble in the distance as well. Gonna be harder and harder to see where my highs and lows are now that this rain has started. All right, I got the 1500 done. The storm hasn't quite hit us yet. It hits right on the edge. That orange peel is 99% out of the bonnet now, which is where I wanted it to be with 1500 grit. Next, 2000, that's when I start on these body lines and these crowns. Well, the rains and the storms beat me, but I did get this bonnet sanded down to 2000 grit. It's come up good. You can see that I've snuck up on these edges now. I still got a couple little nubs of shit that I got to work at, but you can see the orange peel is all but gone. A little bit here in the corner and a little bit on the edges, but just a real light sanding at 2000 will take that out. Okay, I'll pull the pin until the weather finds up. Okay, here's our bonnet finished in 2000. It's the following day. The storms have passed. More forecast today, but I think I can get this thing knocked out before they arrive. I got my sander, I got a 3000 grit pad, and I'm washing off this bonnet to make sure that there's no shit on it that'll get caught between the pad and the paint and create those crazy swirl marks. All right, there we are. 3000 is laid down. Got a nice sheen in the bonnet already. All of the orange peel is gone. There are a couple of nubs here that I wasn't game to keep going on. I didn't want to cut through the clear, obviously. All right, home stretch. Phenixa compound, starting with a yellow buff, which is the coarse one. Run the yellow buff over the entire bonnet, and then switch over to the fine black one, and do it all over again. So that's taken the majority of the sanding scratches out of there, but not all of them. That has to come out with that black buff. And my eyesight is not good enough in these cloudy conditions to be able to pull all those scratches out. I found for me anyway, I need full sun on this thing so that I can look at it at oblique angles and see whether those scratches have come out. I just can't get that when it's in cloudy conditions. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to pull the pin on this and come back to it on a sunny day, but I'm not defeated. I got other stuff to do. Remember in the last video, I said I sourced that trim? Well, it has arrived. I got the passenger side and the driver's side. This is the driver's side. That's the sort of condition that it was in. I knew it was secondhand. You can't get these things new. So for the passenger side off camera, I took that rubber off, sanded down that chrome, and painted it black. And here's what we've got. That came up absolutely beautiful. That means I can put the felt on that, fit that up in place where it belongs, get the glass in, and get my door card in. So that's the project I'm gonna work on next while we wait for some sunshine. Well, there was a slight break in the clouds and I took advantage of it. I got this bonnet polished all out. She has come up a treat. And no tiger stripes. Man, that metallic pops when it's in the sunshine. All right, that sucker is ready to go back on the car. Holy moly, have I fought with that door. I've got the window glass in there just perfectly now, but that was not easy. Far out. That's an aftermarket door, and aftermarket stuff just never seems to fit as good as the factory stuff. So I was adjusting the window up, I was adjusting the tilt back and forth, I was adjusting the window's tip in and out, I was adjusting the stops that stop the window going all the way down and the stops that stop the window going all the way up. I was adjusting the tracks that the window winder runs in. I don't know how many hours I've got put into that, but it is absolutely hours. But enough bitching and moaning. Let me clean the glass up, get all my fingerprints off of this, and I'll install that door card. One door card, done. All right, bonnet hinge time. That gap there is pretty good. On the passenger side, the front gap is massive, so the whole bonnet has to shift forward. And this gap is tight at the back and a bit wide out the front. So I've got to shift the bonnet this way as well. All right, let me do some adjustments and we'll come back when I'm finished. "15 rear, 17 rear, 15 rear, 17 rear, 15 rear, 17 rear. Well, let's have a look at her now that she's all finished. This was the damaged side here. That looks pretty much straight as a die to me. Got my bonnet gaps all sorted out. They're looking good. No tiger striping on that puppy. Thank you, happy about that. Door glass in, that's still giving me a little bit of curry. These seals are so new, it's just really hard to close this door. So I'm just hoping over time that'll sort of loosen up a little bit. All of the air bubbles that were in the stripes, those have all laid down now. All the water's evaporated out from underneath of it. Back end looks real good. Boot lid, very nice. And this is the driver's side. It's in the shade, so it's difficult to see, but that looks pretty straight to me. And there she is sitting on 17s. I like it. I like it a lot. It just fills the guard out a lot better. All right, a year post-accident. Let's jump in and go for a ride. Key on. Sniper booted. All of our gauges work. I do have to pull the bulb out of that service engine soon. The reason that light is on is because I've deleted the computer. After this cruise, I'll do an oil change as well and get that engine running oil out of there. Nice responsive throttle. Well, we're cruising along at 80 kilometers an hour. Definitely needs an alignment. My eyeball alignment wasn't good enough. The T-tops, they're rattling like a buggery at the moment because everything's shaking and shimmying. It goes a lot harder than it did before. Well, she short shifts out of first gear, so I got to adjust that TV cable up. All right, back from our little spin. That was a lot of fun. Well, there you have it, folks. One 1986 Monte Carlo SS after a full 12-month restoration. She definitely looks better than she did post-crash. Is it perfect? No. Some kinks that I've got to iron out. My AC stopped working, so I'm sweating it out at the moment. Front end alignment, hopefully that'll take care of that shimmy. And if it doesn't take care of that shimmy, then I've got to track that down. But overall, not a bad effort, I reckon. I've been getting a lot of shtick about the FJ45, and where is that in the process? That's next on the hit list. But say goodbye to the Monte Carlo. You won't see her in a full video again. Until next time, keep shiny side up. Bye now.